Please note that this content is for adults only. Viewer discretion advised. If you haven't yet, hit the subscribe, like, and share. Hello everyone and welcome back to another live stream with me, Grizzly. This is Grizzly True Crime. And today's case takes us to a little town known as Lima, Montana. That seems to be the way the locals say it. They don't say Lima. From the news clips I've seen, they say Lima, Montana. And there's less than 200 people that live there. Let me show you quickly what it looks like here. Okay, so here's the Beaverhead County Sheriff's Office. And if you just go south of that in Montana, there's this little town called Lima. Look there. My word. So everybody must know everybody, and therefore this case must be a huge shock to all the locals. Welcome, everyone. Please like, share, so that others can learn about this case as well. Just know it comes with a trigger warning. It is involving themes of child neglect, which is abuse, and it's severe, as well as murder. And it can be very upsetting. Okay, so this is where we're going today. I quickly want to also show you a clip, and then we've got a presentation to look at. We've got documents to look at too, so let's do that. Let me put the sound on for you and just resize this quickly. Sorry, it's a bit too zoomed in for us. There we go. All right.
Lima woman is facing charges after authorities say she killed her son last week. Beaverhead County Sheriff Dave Wendt reports Nichole Lynn Boyer was charged with deliberate homicide after her son was found dead Thursday. Responders arrived to the home and found Boyer's child had died. The responders deemed his death suspicious and requested assistance from the Montana Division of Criminal Investigation. No further details at this time, but as we learn more, we'll keep you updated.
There's not that many details out, but I found everything I possibly could so that I can bring you this case and we can talk about it, and I do hope that there will be justice for this victim, because what this mother did, it's probably going to infuriate you. Okay, so let's quickly have a look at this presentation that I've made for you, and then we're going to look at the probable cause affidavit. So Lima, Montana, if there is somebody here who is from Lima, Montana, please tell me. Maybe you're just from Montana in general. I always appreciate it when there's locals in chat watching here with us. And of course, welcome everybody. So Nichole Boyer is the woman's name, 28 years old. And from what I can gather, there's not too much available about her, but she was born and raised there. And so she lived in Lima, Montana in a home. There's a picture, public record from the news clips. In a home with her father, who she said was ill, and her 4 children. Lima is a small town in Beaverhead County with a population under 200. Her 2-year-old son, so that he was almost 3 years old, was found deceased in the home, and the other 3 children were removed from the home following her arrest. And so was her father removed. Shame. I really feel sorry for everybody else in the home too when you hear more about this case. I mean, if the father was ill and she was having to take care of him, I don't know where the mother is, but whoa, these other children must be really upset and disturbed by all of this as well, right? I don't know the ages. So October 16th of 2025, Nichole Boyer called the police. So at least she did one thing right. Wow, she did one thing right, but way too late, okay, like a month too late. She called the police to report that her almost 3-year-old son had been sick for months and is now dead. Do you think she sought medical attention for her son in those months? No. No, she did not, okay? When officers arrived, they found the home in a filthy condition and located her deceased son in a room upstairs in a pile of laundry and trash, including diapers and everything, in an advanced stage of decomposition. And she said to the police, "Just take me to jail." Oh, okay, well, don't mind if we do. Here's the handcuffs for you, right? Okay, wait, I've got to read out Fiebmeister's comment there. Hold on one second. Here we go. Fiebmeister said, "I lived in Lima at 15 when I was pregnant with my 41-year-old daughter." It's a very small town. You lived in Lima, Montana? Oh, my word. Wow. True Crime Addicted said, "I'm so exhausted from being furious at mothers. I know, right? I saw before the live stream started, people were like, what's wrong with people? I know, right? We ask ourselves that almost every day. What is wrong with people? Violet Storm said, that's a lot of people to take care of, right? But she did produce 4 of them, you know what I'm saying? She only had her dad to take care of, really, and then she had 4 children. So I also don't know who's the dads. How many dads are we talking about? Where are they? What is going on here? I don't know. But it's to me, it's no excuse, right? 28 years old. If you want to take care of a dad and now you got 4 kids in the house, yeah, you're going to take care of them too. So, okay, press release. David W. Went, the sheriff, said, morning of October 16th of 2025, deputies from the Beaverhead County Sheriff's Office, along with emergency medical personnel from Lima ambulance, responded to a report of an unattended death in Lima. Upon arrival, first responders located a child who was deceased. Based on the circumstances of the scene, the death was considered suspicious and assistance was requested from the Montana Division of Criminal Investigation. 1 adult female who was at the residence has been charged with deliberate homicide, and that in Montana could mean the death penalty. She could face the death penalty. Okay, so she was charged with deliberate homicide and was booked into the Beaverhead County Detention Center. They said this is an active investigation and no further information will be released at this time. We sincerely thank all the first responders who assisted us in this case and who put others before themselves every day. Sincerely, Sheriff David Went. I mean, shame, man. I feel really sorry as well for the first responders if they're like, okay, we've been called there because she said her child's been sick and is now dead. But then they get there and they get into the house and they say it was just like the sudden smell of decomposition. And they're like, what is going on here? And they said the house was filthy. We're going to look at it in the documents as they describe it, right? And then EMS goes upstairs and they open the door to this bedroom upstairs and there's this pile of diapers, laundry, trash. And there they find this little boy's body. But not like, oh, he was sick and just died. No, in an advanced stage of decomposition, they're like, what the hell is going on? Wow. So that must be quite disturbing and traumatic as well. So she was arrested on that same day, October 16th of 2025, and she was charged with deliberate homicide. She's being held in the Dillon County Jail now on a $500,000 bail. She could face life in prison if convicted or, the death sentence on this charge. And here's her mugshot. So they did release that. Even though there's very limited information in this case, they did release her mugshot. And there it is. My goodness. Okay. Danielle says a lazy B word. Yeah, that. Southern Cali B said I feel sick to my stomach. Miss Angel said I wonder what mental health issues are. I bet she has some kind of sickness going on. I don't know. It sounds to me like she was saying from the document she was feeling overwhelmed. And one could say, okay, I can understand because you're taking care of an ill father and you've got 4 kids and the one that she is accused of murdering, right, had severe disabilities. So she was saying she feels overwhelmed. So that's one thing. But damn, man, get it together, woman, right? Molly the G said, this is absolutely terrible, but I know I'm safe here with my fellow Grizzlies. Thanks for what you do, G. Thank you so much, Molly. Okay, so on October 28th, she entered a not guilty plea before Judge Luke Berger. Her attorneys asked Judge Berger for a temporary release so that she could attend a memorial service for her son taking place on November 4th. I just can't. That just pisses me off. Excuse me. So you neglected your son. And from what she's saying, from her own words, well, for a long time, but for over a month, just stopped feeding him, just stopped giving him water. She doesn't know if he died from freezing or starving. It's horrific. She just left him upstairs there, just like, I don't want to deal with that. A special needs son, okay? And now she wants temporary release so she can attend the memorial service. Are you crazy? No. So I believe the judge denied that. They said the state attorneys objected to the request. Judge Berger granted the defense's request not to cremate the boy's body until an expert can examine the evidence. Right? Just Call Me Kim says freezing. Well, she had the aircon on and the temperature was 44 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 6 degrees Celsius. So I don't know for how long she had that on either in that room because it was so smelly. Oh my word. Okay, so the victim, SB, only known with initials because he's a minor, was born with spina bifida, hydrocephalus, and club feet. Shame! So spina bifida is a birth defect where the neural tube, which becomes the brain and spinal cord, doesn't close completely during early pregnancy. This can result in varying degrees of disability, from mild to severe, and can cause nerve damage. Symptoms include leg weakness or paralysis, bladder problems, and hydrocephalus. So it makes sense that spina bifida and hydrocephalus were part of, the same diagnosis here. My goodness. So it's really bad because she was just like, ooh, I don't want to deal with that. Shame, this little boy needed special attention, lots of love and care. So hydrocephalus is a neurological condition characterized by an abnormal buildup of cerebrospinal fluid in the cavities or ventricles deep within the brain. This excess fluid enlarges the ventricles and increases pressure on the brain tissue, which can lead to damage if untreated. So often, if you type this into Google, you'll see pictures, where the child's head is very enlarged from all that fluid and pressure. So symptoms include enlarged head, bulging fontanelle, vomiting, irritability, poor feeding, seizures, sun-setting eyes, a downward gaze. So it's painful. He was suffering from this. And what did she do? Do you think she made his life more comfortable? Based on her own words and based on what they found, she made it much worse. She just neglected him. She would say she just set his food down so that he could eat whenever he wants. I'm like, oh my word, he wasn't even 3 years old yet. What do you mean? And she's like, yeah, he can army crawl. Oh my goodness. Beth Cooper said, what a sad excuse for a parent. Justice for that sweet boy. Thank you so much. I hope that the community, I would assume they have pulled together, because if there's a memorial service, someone organized that. I haven't found any clips of that. I've been looking for everything. There's 2 whole news clips on this case. We're going to look at the second clip as well. Don't worry. But shame, man. The community must also be rocked by this, So spina bifida has no cure, but treatments focus on, usually, you know what I mean, if you're a mother, okay, treatments focus on preventing further damage, managing symptoms, and improving quality of life. She did the opposite. There's also no cure for hydrocephalus, but treatments manage symptoms and prevent damage. With early treatment, many lead normal lives. Early treatment, I don't know if she had health insurance, if it would be included in that or what, you know what I mean? I don't know that. But it's so sad to hear that with early treatment and with love and care, many with this diagnosis can lead normal lives, but complications like shunt failures or infections require lifelong management. So you really need a really caring person, not a really neglectful person who just doesn't give a F and just ooh, I don't want, no thank you. In fact, I'll rather just sleep downstairs with my other son. Don't want to deal with that. We're just going to close the door over there. What? So Nichole's accused of fatally neglecting her special needs toddler. She's not sure if he froze or starved to death and does not remember the last time she fed him. Even if it's when did you last see him? When did you last speak to him? When did you last anything? I don't even know when I last fed him. What? So Beaverhead County Deputy Attorney Margot Newman asked Judge Randy Braddock for a list of conditions if Boyer were to bond out of jail, including GPS monitoring and to have no contact with any witnesses, victims, or family members. It is evident the potential penalties in this matter present an extraordinary incentive to flee. Much of the state's concerns are resolved by the bond amount at this time. Of course, I believe she still represents an ongoing risk to vulnerable individuals, including but not limited to children and dependent adults. Bond conditions also include no access to firearms or other destructive devices, not to have contact with any children, not to leave the state of Montana. This case remains under investigation, and law enforcement is not releasing more details at this time. In Montana, deliberate homicide carries a potential death penalty if aggravating circumstances are present, and if the prosecution seeks it. Relevant aggravating factors include deliberate homicide committed against a victim under 12, check, or a person with a physical or mental disability that renders them especially vulnerable. Yes, so it could qualify. Here, the victim was a disabled toddler, nearly 3 years old, with spina bifida, club feet, and hydrocephalus, which could qualify. Montana has not executed anyone since 2006, though, and is under a de facto moratorium due to the ongoing legal challenges over lethal injection protocols. Sure, if they seek the death penalty in this case, that'll be huge news in Lima, Montana. Can you imagine? So we're quickly going to go over why this case is so terrible. Why she's so terrible? Because people could say, I don't think people would really if they hear all the facts of the case that we know so far publicly. But if it's like, shame, she was overwhelmed, and what should she do? And what if she didn't have health insurance? Okay, but let's look at what she did, right, to her son based on her own words and the probable cause affidavit and the accusations. Marie Jubinville said, I was born with both of those conditions. Thank you, Marie, for your sticker, and thank you for sharing as well. If you have any insight to share, please let us know in the chat. I'll try to look out for what you say. Okay, so she left her son upstairs alone, and she says in a padded area. The way she talks about her son, she's making like, ooh, no, I just left him there in a padded area. And she admits she didn't prioritize him. She says, this is a confusing one. She says she switched his sleep cycle so that he would be awake all night, which is kind of weird. That's even worse. That's more torture because, like, why are you doing that? Because she would go downstairs at night. She used to sleep upstairs in her bedroom with her two sons. And then she decided, I'm just going to leave this son up here alone. He can be awake all night. And we're going downstairs. And she would sleep downstairs then. So this whole switching her sleep schedule is so weird. She said she set his food down so that he could eat when he wanted to. Did she miss the part where he needs a lot of help and care? And he's also he was almost 3. So he's 2 years old. I mean, what? Just set his food down. She did not seek medical attention when he fell ill, she says, in July. I think he could have been ill for a longer time, but she says, he fell ill in July. Did she ask a doctor for help? No. Did she tell anyone she needed help? Nope. She stopped giving him water sometime in September and stopped feeding him. Just like that. And she left him on a pile of trash, including dirty diapers and laundry. Yeah, that is not someone who is showing any respect for human life, for her own son's life, or anything. So yeah, this really, those are some aggravating factors for me, right? Did I already read this one? Yeah, okay, we already went over that one. So now I'm going to show you the second news clip I found. Hold on 1 second. We'll go like this. So here she was in court, and then we're going to read the probable cause affidavit.
So to the charge against you, how do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
Boyer entered a not guilty plea to 1 count of deliberate homicide before Judge Luke Berger. Boyer's attorney asked Judge Berger for a temporary release so she can attend a memorial service for her son next week. The state objected to the request.
Mr. Morris is right that there's a celebration of life scheduled for next Tuesday and Wednesday. I would object to any stay on that ceremony.
The judge granted the defense's request to not cremate the boy's body until an expert can examine evidence. On October 21st, 28-year-old Nichole Boyer was charged in connection to her son's death. Boyer was taken into custody on October 16th after calling authorities to report that her almost 3-year-old son had been sick for months and is now dead. According to charging documents, Boyer called.
Let's just pause there. Wu-Tang Alex said the nerve of her wanting to go to the memorial. They say there's going to be a celebration of life. So that was already held on November 4th. Today is November 22nd of 2025. And so they had that already. But like what? The nerve. She's like, yeah, I would like temporary release so I could go to that celebration of life. What? You are charged with fatally neglecting your son. You are charged with deliberate homicide. And you want to get out of jail to go to his celebration of life when she didn't celebrate a day of his life by the sounds of it? Wow. There was no dignity given to this little boy. You know, this, I don't even know how to say, what I want to say is, even if he had passed away, which he really shouldn't have, she should have just cared for him, right? Yeah, you do not leave your son, who's deceased now, right, on a pile of dirty diapers, trash, and dirty laundry. Oh my goodness. Like, that just shows you what she thinks about him. So to even have the nerve, the audacity to say, can I get out of here for a moment so I could just, like, you know, attend that celebration of life? No. How about now?
Called police. When law enforcement arrived, she reportedly said, quote, "Just take me to jail." As law enforcement searched the Main Street home, they reportedly noticed filthy conditions and a foul smell. The boy's body was found in an upstairs bedroom in a, quote, "advanced state of decomposition." Boyer apparently claimed the boy suffered from several disabilities.
Hold on quickly. Let's go back to the picture here that they showed of the house. So she apparently left him in this room, just upstairs, just left him there. And mostly stayed downstairs. So her father was in the house, he was ill, or is ill, and she had to take care of him, apparently, is what she's saying. And 3 other minor children. So 3 other children are in the house. Shame. They must have had questions like, what's happening up there? Or where's my brother? Or can he come play? Or anything. You know what I mean? I don't know how old those children are, but that's so disturbing for them as well. And now they've lost their mother. Now, I don't know where the father or fathers are.
Position. Boyer apparently claimed the boy suffered from several disabilities that made him immobile. She told law enforcement she left the boy food and water but doesn't remember the month of September. According to charging documents, she made multiple statements that she needed to go to jail. 3 other minor children and another adult were removed from the home during the investigation by the Montana Department of Criminal Investigation. Boyer is being held in the Dillon jail on a $500,000 bond. In Dillon,
Okay.
Megan Thompson and
Okay, that's it. That's the end of the clip there. So now we're going to look at the probable cause affidavit quickly. It's not very long. We've looked at some long ones recently. I do love documents. You guys know that, right? So I'm sure you guys like documents too, right? We love affidavits, police records, anything like that. So I'm going to be showing you this in a moment. Thank you so much to Grizzly Cat for obtaining this document for us. If you want to buy her a coffee, her link is in the description box. So is the Mod Squad's, and so is mine. Thank you so much for spoiling us all with coffees. Okay. Yeah, Stefan said that balcony doesn't look stable, right? That as well. Okay, so let's quickly have a look at this document, which is the Montana Fifth Judicial District Court, Beaverhead County, the state of Montana plaintiff versus Nichole Lynn Boyer. I tried to see if she has like a Facebook account or anything. I can't find much on her. So motion comes now the state of Montana by and through Deputy Beaverhead County Attorney Margot E. Newman, and pursuant to this code hereby moves the district court for leave to file an information charging the defendant Nichole Lynn Boyer with the following offenses. Count 1, deliberate homicide, a felony in violation of this code in Montana. The state seeks a warrant for the defendant's arrest with bail set in the amount of $500,000, with a hearing being required to set conditions of release prior to the defendant being released on bail or bond. The state is directly filing this in district court pursuant to the Montana code, and there it is, right? Okay. Retro AI Unleashed, nice to see you in chat again. Where have you been? You said disrespectful in life and death for this monster. How about prison, lady? I know, right? How about prison? How about some LWAP? And she could face the death penalty. Okay, so here's the affidavit in support. So it's got more information in here. State of Montana, so again, trigger warning, this involves themes of child neglect, severe child neglect, and which is abuse, and therefore fatal neglect, which now is murder, deliberate homicide. So it says, comes now Margaret E. Newman, Deputy Beaverhead County Attorney, and being first duly sworn, hereby deposes and states that I'm an attorney licensed to practice law in the state of Montana. I've reviewed reports from an ongoing investigation by the Beaverhead County Sheriff's Office and the Montana Department of Justice Division of Criminal Investigation, and believe, based on the facts set forth therein, that there is sufficient evidence to charge the offense set forth herein. The facts set forth in the investigative reports, if true, are summarized as follows. On October 16th of 2025, Nichole Boyer called dispatch at the Beaverhead County Sheriff's Office to report that her son, SB, year of birth 2022, had been sick for months and is now deceased. Under Sheriff Haggard responded to Main Street, Lima, Montana. Now, I believe there's a North Main Street and a South Main Street, and I do not know which one it is. I'm not being specific. I've also redacted the address there, but you know, I just wonder, such a small town, obviously everyone will know where it is, right? And yes, you could put the Google man on the ground, but he doesn't like to drive around there. Not North or South Main Street, okay? So I can't show you the area there. Where Boyer and her son were located. Upon his arrival, he met with Boyer outside the residence. Boyer, which is the woman, right? Nichole Boyer, 28 years old, the mother of 4 children. She's outside. Boyer made a statement to the effect of, just take me to jail. Okay. Law enforcement observed the smell of decomposing human remains upon entry into the residence. Furthermore, the entirety of the home was in poor condition. The floor and surfaces throughout the home were covered in trash and rotten food, as well as animal urine and feces. Oh my word. So even the animals sound like they were neglected. I feel sorry for everyone that lived in that home. And they were dependent on her. So again, I'll say, as much as one can acknowledge that might be overwhelming, sometimes you just got to do what you got to do. I don't think one can just say, I was overwhelmed, and then just sit there in a pile of trash with animal feces and urine and a child just literally being starved to death upstairs. Yeah, no, I don't think so. I don't think there's any excuse for that. Then ask someone for help or call the police before it gets to this point or anything like that, right? Okay, so law enforcement observed, yeah, we already read that one. Under Sheriff Haggard was directed by EMS to an upstairs bedroom to observe the deceased child, who was located on a pile of laundry, bed sheets, trash, and other items on the floor next to a mattress. The child was covered up with a sweatshirt that Boyer later indicated belonged to her. So that tells us psychologically she has some shame about this, right? I mean, she really should. But she actually did that. So it means she knew, even though later she'll claim, I just didn't want to acknowledge that he'd actually died. But you did go up there at some point. You obviously saw that your son had died. You waited for over a month, according to the timeline, to call the police about it. You let all the other kids live in those conditions. That's also neglect for the other children. She should face more charges. And smell that decomposing human flesh all day. I mean, what in the hell? Okay, so, and then put the sweatshirt over your son. Right. But then you want to get out of jail to attend the celebration of life. I don't think so. Why? So you could put a sweatshirt on his grave or what? I don't think so. You just stay where you are. So the child appeared to be in an advanced state of decomposition. SB suffered from spina bifida, club feet, and hydrocephalus. As a result, SB was significantly disabled. Boyer later indicated that the child could only army crawl as a result of his medical conditions. You can just hear how detached she is from her own son by saying it like that as well. There's many things she says that tells us she's extremely detached from her son. I wonder how she treated the other children. But to be like, yeah, he can only army crawl. Shame, man. He was 2 years old. Misty Peterson said, prison is perfect for a person who schleps and oozes her way through life. Yeah. Actually, unfortunately, yes. But also that sucks, right? She's going to live her best life in prison. She doesn't have to do a damn thing. Doesn't have to lift a finger. Can just read books, watch movies on a tablet, order commissary. I don't know. Oh, man. Thank you so much for your sticker. I really, really appreciate it. Now, Liza Jones says, what was she doing all day since not taking care of anyone or cleaning? I also want to know. What was she doing? Was she doing any substances? What was she doing? What else were all these people that were dependent on her ill father and 4 children, now 3 other children because the one died. What was she doing all day? Again, I don't know how old those children are, the surviving ones. But if they're old enough to talk, I'm sure the police will speak to them because, like, tell us what your mommy did. You know? It doesn't sound to me like she's making peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for them or packing little lunch boxes or thinking of their futures or even cleaning the house, even giving it a sweep, a little, anything. It's terrible, right? Betsy Wharton, 97, thank you for being here. You said, I was born with spina bifida and cerebral palsy. I'm lucky enough to have a wonderful family and live an awesome life. Thank you, Betsy, for sharing. And that's what makes me so sad about this case. If this little boy had a loving family, a loving mother, someone to take care of him. I mean, why couldn't she then just say, I can't do it. I can't. I'm not going to be able to. And then let someone adopt him or let somebody else look after him and give him his best chance, right? To just sit there and be like, I'm not going to deal with that. I'm just going to let him die upstairs is horrific. And just think about how much fear the little boy must have felt. How much suffering alone for a long time. Man, so they said Yeah, the army crawl. Okay, the upstairs bedroom where SB was located was filthy. It was covered in trash, diapers, and other items. Law enforcement noted that an air conditioning unit was running in the bedroom despite the projected high temperature that day in Lima, Montana being approximately 44 degrees Fahrenheit. So the highest temperature would have been 44 degrees Fahrenheit that day, which is 6.6 degrees Celsius, which is not hot, right? And she's just running this air conditioning unit. I wonder if she didn't do that, you know, after calling the police, like, or just before. Like, let's put the air conditioning unit on to make it, I don't know what, cooler, smell just a little bit better. Or did she have it running the whole time? I don't know. Did she have it running the whole summer? I don't know. And who worked, who paid the bills? How did they cope? How did all these people cope? I don't know. So we still have many questions, but yeah, I'm looking straight at this defendant. Like, what were you thinking? She's just sitting there like a maggot, you know, just sitting there like, okay. What are you doing? You watching TV? Playing TV games? Sleeping? Do something. Okay, there's no survival instinct for her either, right? My goodness. Okay, it was covered in all these items and the aircon was running. All other occupants of the home, including 3 other minor children and another adult, were removed from the residence. I'm sure they're grateful. Boyer spoke with Deputy Wheatley while on scene. I wonder who takes care of the dad now, you know? I think the children would probably go to DCF, but what happens to her dad? She indicated that, okay, so Boyer, that's Nichole Boyer, the defendant, spoke with Deputy Wheatley while on scene. She indicated that SB, the victim, fell ill in July with what she described as a cold, and then fell ill again in August. I don't believe her. But okay, let's take it. Was a cold. A cold? Or being kept in such unhygienic circumstances. Could have been something much worse, right? Could have been suffering from all sorts of infections and whatever she was causing to happen in that room. She indicated that the child had a fever during this time as well, but that she attributed it to teething. Boyer stated that she would check on the child 3 or 4 times a day, delivering food and water at that time. Boyer indicated that she felt as if the child received food and water. So if the child received food and water, the child would be okay. Oh my word, she's treating this, and she said the child, well, they're saying the child. I don't know how exactly she said it. She's like, well, if I went in there, opened the door, and just put down a bowl of food and water and got the hell out of there, he'd be okay, right? He'd be fine, right? No, that's a child. They need love, care, respect, attention, time with you, and especially, this is a very special needs case, needing even more of that, all of that. So, okay. Boyer indicated she felt as if, yeah, if they received the child received food and water, the child would be okay. During the course of this conversation, Boyer also stated that she did not remember the whole month of September and made several comments about needing to go to jail. What do you mean you did not remember the whole month of September? Firstly, my question would be, okay, were you dissociated or were you high? I don't know. What do you mean? Or you just don't want to remember? You don't remember the whole month of September? Is that going to be your defense? Oh no, can hear it already, isn't it? Law enforcement also spoke with Boyer's family members, including, there's her mother, including her mother. So where's the mother? Her stepfather, where are they? And biological father. Her mother must be so shocked hearing this. Assuming the mother doesn't live in conditions like this. What? She did what now? Law enforcement also spoke with, I keep repeating my sentence. I keep losing my place. Let's focus here. The mother indicated she spoke with Boyer on that day. You know the day that Nichole Boyer called dispatch? Her mother spoke to her for an hour before she made the call. During the course of that conversation, Nichole Boyer made statements to the effect that she was a horrible person, a horrible mother, that she is going to jail for life, and that everybody will hate her. Okay, valid, but you know what she does? She pleads not guilty. If you feel that, and you just want to turn yourself in, do not put everyone through this, just plead guilty. How about you just admit it? You know? I know her attorneys would tell her not to do that, I'm just saying. So, at times, Boyer told her mother that SB was alive, but sleeping. And at other times, Boyer said that SB was deceased. Boyer's mother shared that the last time she spoke with SB on the phone was in September, and that around that same time, Boyer had made self-deletion threats, including sharing a plan to, I don't want to say all these words on YouTube, right? To use a gun, okay? And sharing a belief that she will be going to jail. Okay, so you knew it. You knew that you're going to jail. And this was when? September. On the phone in September, around that same time, she knew she's going to jail. Okay. But then you only called on October 16th. Damn. Boyer's father advised that the last time he'd seen SB, the victim, was in September. He also indicated that while Boyer used to sleep upstairs in her bedroom with her two sons, SB and her older son, she began sleeping downstairs with her older son in September. See, that's confusing because there were 3 other minors in the house. So some reports say that she had 4 children, and some will just say there were 4 children in the house and the one died. So I don't know if 2 are hers. Okay, then who are the other 2? Where do the other 2 come from? I don't know. And I worry about that. You know what I mean? What if she took them in? What if she was getting benefits? Oh, crap. It's benefits, isn't it? It's like disability benefits. Is that what she was living off? Probably. And did she then take 2 other children in, or are they her own? We got questions. Okay. Noto says, why didn't her mother call anyone? That is a good question, actually. But okay, at least maybe she convinced Nichole to, because Nichole did after the call with her mother. So Boyer's father also indicated that Boyer told him that she had switched SB's sleep schedule in September such that he would sleep all day and be awake at night. That makes no sense. And actually, if you look at the timeline, he was probably already deceased then. You know? But that is such a weird thing to say, like, oh, he's going to sleep all day and be awake all night. You know what I'm going to do? The exact opposite. He's going to be nocturnal from now on. Okay. And I want to sleep all night, be awake all day. That's so weird. So really, that's just like admitting even more neglect. Boyer also spoke with DCI agents in the evening of October 16th of 2025. During this interview, Boyer advised of the following. SB could sit up on his own, but could only army crawl around due to his medical conditions. He had the speech development of a 1-year-old child despite being almost 3 years old. Yeah, that is also what neglect would do, despite the disabilities. You know what I mean? If you're not there at all to teach him anything, spend time with him, yeah. So it sounds to me like she's a little snarky, right, about her own son there. And I'm like, you neglected him. Perry, thank you so much. And then Boyer kept SB in the upstairs bedroom exclusively, where SB stayed in a padded area. She said that she would well, I hope she stays in a padded area now. She said that she would visit him multiple times a day to set his food down so that he could eat it if he wanted to, and that he was given water in a to-go bottle. Ma'am, your son is not an animal, and even don't treat animals like that either. But what do you mean? Like I would just like set the food down, just give him water in a to-go bottle and get out of there. She became overwhelmed in August with tending to the 3 other minor children in the home, as well as her father, who were all sick. Well, yeah. I can imagine everybody was sick because of how unhygienic the house sounded like it was. She became more overwhelmed once school started in September, as she had to provide all children in the home with medications and food. Oh, so they're of school age, are they, some of them? She gave SB Tylenol over the summer. That worries me. We've seen a lot of cases where parents will overdose with that, right? To like, this is how she switched the sleep cycle, right? You know what I mean? Just put him to sleep at all times. Just lots and lots of Tylenol. Oh, crap. Okay, so I'm not saying Tylenol's bad. I'm saying it's bad in certain cases where people abuse it, right? Where they just want their children to just sleep. So Tylenol over the summer, but then stopped in September because she didn't want to give him too much. Sure. She did not take him to the doctor for any of the illnesses he suffered over the summer because she felt like she had everything she needed at home to care for him, including medications. You mean like Tylenol? That's all you had? and everybody else in the house was sick. She indicated that she would use a nebulizer on SB and that the nebulizer would often help to alleviate symptoms. Boyer said that SB would sleep during the day and be awake at night. She said that she would check on him during the day, but that she slept downstairs at night with the other child. That is so cruel. If that's your story, like, he would sleep all day, but then he'd be awake all night, but I didn't give a crap because I was sleeping at night downstairs. That's so crazy. You're going to leave your child upstairs alone, a 2-year-old, alone, neglected all night, having slept all day. Oh my goodness. Yeah, Stefan said Tylenol over the summer is quite a long time. Rad Malarexon said, I hope the other kids are getting looked after properly. I hope so too. So Boyer said at some point in September she got overwhelmed and stopped caring for the child. So we already know in August she got overwhelmed by taking care of her father and the other 3 children. But then she got overwhelmed in September and just stopped caring for the child. When asked why, she stated that she didn't prioritize him. She stated, I believe I should have done more. Really? Really? Do you believe you should have done more? Okay. Saying it doesn't help, you know? It doesn't just help now. That's too late. Just like, I should have done more. Okay, that's not going to help your case at all. And agreed that her lack of care led to SB's death. She stated, my lack of not paying attention and prioritizing other things over him led to him dying. Yeah, my lack of not paying attention. It's called neglect, which is a severe form of abuse. And then you stopped feeding him too or giving him any water. Okay. Someone says, think? Led Zepp. Think? Boyer said that she didn't know the last time she actually remembers SB eating and that she stopped giving him water sometime in September. Boyer was unclear whether she stopped giving SB food and water before or after he was deceased. Okay, she's not that smart, eh? She's like, I'm not. That sentence, she was unclear whether she stopped giving her son food and water before or after he was deceased. I mean, it could have been before, she thinks, but it could have also just been after. And it was probably before. Otherwise, he would still be alive. Do you know what I mean? Lorraine, well, based on what we know. Lorraine Clement said, thank you, G and Mods, for doing all the heavy lifting and covering these hard cases with love and empathy, justice for all these babies. Thank you so much for your support, for being a member for 8 months. And yes, I do hope that I think Montana's taking this case seriously. Lima, Montana. Now it's reached international waters. We are an international community. We're watching this case. We want to see justice for this victim. And if anybody's watching and you have any more information to share about this, you can email me, grizzlytruecrime@gmail.com. GRIZZ, Grizzly like the bear, right? Okay. So, wow, I can't believe she said that. When asked if SB starved to death, Boyer said she didn't know. Okay. When asked if SB froze to death, she said she didn't think so. Boyer stated that she knew that SB had passed in September, but that she had convinced herself that he was still alive. She didn't want to accept SB's death until that morning when she finally called the police on herself. She says, finally called the police on myself. So that's probably true. That's what made her call, just suddenly go, you know what? Oh my goodness. Okay, now it's time to call. So I'll give her one tiny bit of credit that at least she called the police, because imagine if she didn't. When would they know? How would they know? So at least she's owned up in that way. It's just, now she's pleading not guilty and taking this to trial, and this could be a death penalty case. But because it's a death penalty case, you know what it sounds like. Not that it's supposed to be used for that, but I think there could be a plea deal ahead. I wouldn't, that's probably what her defense attorney said, just plead not guilty right now, let's see where this goes, and maybe at some point there could be a plea deal, take the death penalty off the table, if they want to seek it. They haven't indicated yet if they're going to seek it, and then, you get LWOPed. And let's see, she better not get some of these cases when it's 10 years, 30 years, what? My goodness. Okay, so that's what we have, everyone. That's what we know about the case so far. It's everything that I could find. on it, and I will keep you posted on what happens here. I would love to see justice for this little boy, and I feel so sad, you know, when children are treated this way, especially children that have special needs, that really need a lot of love and care, and they're just treated like that. And then also beyond their death, even if she knew, oh man, I knew he passed in September. Even if he passed away from your neglect, you didn't think to bury him nicely or do anything. You know what I mean? It like goes further. It shows even more what they do to that child or that person's body after they've died. That just makes me so mad, and it tells me everything I need to know, right? Jenny Lynn said, thank you, Grizzly, justice for sweet baby. I really hope so. Unfortunately, we only know his initials, of course, SB, and we don't have any pictures of him or anything, but I hope there will be. Thank you, everyone, for being here. If you missed me yesterday, we did have a YouTube members-only live stream. The replay is also available on Patreon if you want to check any of those out. I was live with that last night. And I also made a video for you, which I can't now remember if it was yesterday or the day before, but on the Melody Buzzard case. So if you want to check that out, if you haven't checked out my video section, there are some videos there for you on Melody Buzzard's case. There's also the interview that I did with a digital forensics expert from the Matthew Paul trial. There's also a summary of the Matthew Paul trial. If you missed the trial, you don't have time to watch the trial, you could just watch that and get the whole case recap over there. And I also interviewed the K9 handler, and he brought the K9 cadaver dog, Raven, to the interview. So go check out my video section if you primarily just, you know, normally check out the live stream section, because I make a lot of stuff for you. Thank you so much for being here. I hope that you guys have a nice, whatever time it is for you, afternoon, evening. Make sure you look after your mental health. These cases involving children can be very, very heavy, very sad, right? And I really appreciate you being here with me, because without you, you know, the word would not spread. It would not spread. So you helped me to spread the word about these cases so that others are aware. And maybe some people need to also know what not to do. You know what I mean? All right. Thank you. I'll see you all again very soon.